Hi guys, just a quick announcement before we start today's video. Not only can you now find the Rift Effect here on YouTube and Facebook, but you can also now find it on Instagram. So please go to Instagram, link will be in the description below, and like our Instagram page. There'll be more photos of what we do and what we get up to and loads of geeky stuff. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, check it all out. Thanks guys. Hi guys, and welcome to a very special episode of the Rift Effect, because today is our first ever movie review. Also a first is me being assisted by Tia, my daughter, who has never been on this side of the camera before. So if you were on Facebook earlier today, you may have noticed that Tia and I went and saw
Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Hey, that's only taken a couple of takes. So today we went and saw this movie. It is a sequel to the 2014 movie Godzilla. Now before we get into this movie, one thing I want to say is I keep going Godzilla because of the 1998 movie. Tia doesn't remember the 1998 movie, nope. And this is why.
Godzilla. Godzilla.
Yep.
That's just stuck in my head, so every time I go Godzilla. Anyway. So let's talk about this movie. This is a spoiler-free review, so there'll be no spoilers, so don't worry about that. So this movie takes place 5 years after the Godzilla movie. Tia and I watched it again last night as a recap of what we were expecting in this movie. Both of us liked the original, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we both liked it. Both really enjoyed it. A lot of critics said, a lot of fans especially said there wasn't enough of Godzilla. You didn't see enough action, there wasn't enough Godzilla. Did you feel like that?
I disagreed with that.
Yeah, I was quite happy. It felt like it was setting up the story for this monster universe, because obviously Kong Skull Island is in this universe. And I got really attached to the characters, the actors.
Yeah.
Bill Cranston's character was fantastic. And we liked the story, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we really did. We really got into it. So, as I say, this is set 5 years after all that. And they definitely listened to the fans. The fans said, more Godzilla. Well, geez, do you get that? There's how many monsters in this?
There's a lot more than...
There's a lot more monsters, a lot more fight scenes, and
definitely a lot more action.
And a lot more action.
Yeah.
The story is sort of second to that. It's all about the monsters at the end of the day, and this is what you want from a monster movie. I've seen a lot of critics criticise that the story and the plot is just generic and just fills in gaps. It's going to. At the end of the day, we want to see monsters, and that's what this film's given us. And it's given it us in a big way. So the first thing we'll talk about is the visuals. Now for me, the visuals were fantastic. I mean, the CGI, the big pan views of the three-headed one that I can't remember the name of right now.
No, I can't.
Just, I mean, what was it?
Yeah, it was really good.
It's the stunning CGI. So what was your favourite scene?
When Godzilla was preparing himself for the last fight with the monsters.
Yeah. Like Tia's just saying, there's so many different scenes in this film where you just go, wow, that is visually stunning. And it's great. It's just really, really good visuals. So from the visuals, we'll then... I can't emphasise enough the visuals. The CGI and everything was just spot on, wasn't it? It was just really, really good. So, moving on to the story and the acting. The story was generic. It's the best way I can describe it. Any monster movie could have turned this story out. There is a good guy, there's a bad guy. One's trying to use Godzilla and the monsters and one's not. It's just one of those. It's a generic story. However, saying that, the acting was good. I mean, Millie Bobby Brown, who is in Stranger Things, we both love her in Stranger Things. We think she's a fantastic little actress. But she...
Proper child in this.
Yeah, she's... What do you call it? Running, screaming child, running around with her head on fire, and she wasn't really doing much, I don't think.
Yeah, they made her out to be this big thing in the movie, and she's wasn't.
Yeah, she wasn't. The main hero really was her the
Dad.
actor that played her dad.
Yeah.
He's the main guy. Although it did crack me up that he is or was a member of Monarch. He then left for reasons you'll find out in the movie, and he hasn't been with them for 5 years.
Yeah.
And yet he's telling military people what to do.
Yeah, he's like
He's telling everyone what to do, and yet
Right.
it's a typical American. Let's make one hero, and he knows everything. So.
Yeah.
And to be fair, his acting was again all right.
They worked with what they got.
Yes.
They worked with what they had.
I think the writers let them down on this one. There's been 5 years between the Godzilla now, and they should have developed this movie. They could have got the storyline. It is just a fill gap between the monster scenes, really.
Yeah, but it kind of flows without leaving the massive gaps between them.
Yeah, I mean, well, quite a few critics are saying it's just a stopgap and it might not flow, but I thought it flowed.
Yeah.
You understood what was going on. There was no jumping from one spot to the other too much. It was all it just seemed to, and it did bridge that gap for us, story-wise.
Yeah.
The thing that I got, and I think you said earlier, was there was no connection.
No connection whatsoever. Because the last family we got so connected with, and then you'd think they'd be in this movie because you've already connected with them, and they've just jumped from one family to the next, and it's not. Yeah,
they didn't develop the story of this family as well as they did in the last movie. You felt it when Bill Cranston's character died in the last movie, whereas in this movie, when certain people died, I wasn't bothered.
No, you were just like, they're dead.
I'm that disconnected that I can't even remember half the characters. I can't even remember any of the characters' names. Whereas Godzilla, I remember the main lad in Godzilla's name's Ford.
Yeah.
So that just shows you that they didn't develop the story properly or the connection properly. No. There's bits.
They could have put, even if they didn't want to make the movie longer, they could have put that little bit to make your connection.
Yeah.
Like, even a little bit, but there's not even a little bit where I felt, right, I'm getting into this with the family.
Yeah.
I was more into it with the
monsters.
The monsters,
yeah. Yeah, the monsters, I mean, you even there's an even little smirk from Godzilla, which I thought was hilarious, and I pointed that out to you in the movie. Is he just smirked at me? It was actually my reaction. And you actually felt... There is a scene that it just popped into my head now. There's a scene where Tia went, "Aww." I'm not going to spoil it because it's not. This is a spoiler free. There is a scene where Tia just went, "Aww," and I just started laughing because Tia just gets that connection with animals and monsters and things. I don't. I just think it's funny. But Tia just went, "Aww." So yeah. Anyway.
I think the only character I felt connected with, and that's because I think he were in the 2014 movie and is he a professor?
Yeah, the head of Monarch, yeah, he was...
Because the amount of stuff he did in this movie and...
Compared to the last one, he did a lot less, yeah.
He did a lot less, but the thing he did do, that's the part that got me the most.
That's nearly a spoiler, but we'll allow that because she didn't actually say what happens.
I was thinking about that then.
Anyway, so let's now move on to this the score and the sound. When Godzilla roared.
That was brilliant.
What I did like is they kind of kept the iconic roar from the '98 movie. Even Tia knows what that roar sounds like from the '98 movie. I think everybody does.
Yeah.
And there was hints of that in this new Godzilla.
They tried to keep it original without actually...
And you felt it in the cinema. That roar, you felt...
It was just vibrating everywhere.
It was great. And the music to go along with...
I want it. I want the soundtrack.
It was just phenomenal. When...
Godzilla were introduced, the beat
built
just
up.
dropped.
And it built up. It built up nicely. It proper effects. And you want that from it. You want that suspense music that builds up and builds up and builds up till eventually he just gives his roar and the music goes with it. And it packs a wall at the whole, again, not just the roar, but with the soundtrack to it, the whole cinema shook. It was great.
Yeah, some movies, the music like when there's a beat in a music, it doesn't go with the actual scene when the beat drops. Whereas this, the beat in this, the beat dropped right at the moment it was supposed to, and that's what kind of like hello.
Yeah, it blew us away. And even just the music from any of the other scenes, not just Godzilla, but any of the other scenes for any of the other monsters, or
it were all in
it was
sync for the movie.
for the characters and for each individual monster. It was, I can't fault it. I really can't. It was just perfect for a monster movie. It's what you wanted. So yeah, so that's great. So costuming, we're not really going to delve into, even though I'm a cosplayer and there's nothing to really talk about. It's all generic war and things. Stick a monarch patch on and you've got a monarch uniformed officer.
Yeah.
There was nothing
just,
stand out costume wise.
It's just original civilian clothes and then
military clothes and
MTPs and
there's nothing.
So
you stick a monarch patch on your arm somewhere and you're a monarch engineer or something like that. That's it. So there's not much point in us going into costumes.
Yeah.
Suited the movie, don't get me wrong, there was nothing wrong with them. They didn't look out of place or anything like that.
I
There just wasn't
wouldn't
anything
mind
special.
cosplaying as one of the monsters. That'd be quite cool. But that'd cost a lot more.
Well, it depends how you do it. You could do one of these big inflatable suits.
Yeah. Just goes a little dinosaur.
So yeah, so there's that. So I think we've covered everything we need to cover.
Yeah.
So simple question, are we going to add it to our Blu-ray collection?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely worthwhile. We've already got Godzilla and this one. Yeah, definitely. So what we're going to do for the scoring is we're going to give each an individual score out of 5. We'll add that up and see what the individuals this overall score is out of 10. So I'll let you go first.
I'm giving it a 4.
Yeah.
Which
is different what she said earlier. She came out of the cinema going, that was 5, maybe even a 6. I went, you can't go to 6. But
I am contemplating it now because you don't get the connection like you did in the last movie with the characters. But
yeah.
I'm
a 3. I'm a bit harsher. Yeah, you've got to think the story behind it is generic. We could have rinsed and repeated out of however many different other movies. So that's a bit of a low. And again, just like Tia said, the connection with the characters isn't there. You just don't resonate with the characters as much as you did in the original film back in 2014. So that's why I'm giving it a 3. So that gives it an overall score of 7 out of 10. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this. This is our very first attempt at this, so apologies for it not being so clean and polished. Hopefully we'll get better with more reviews. Also, we're going to develop a scoring. We might have little characters across the screen with scoring and things like that. It's all dependent on you guys though. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. The more we get, guys, the more we can do. Tia wants to get more involved in this and we just want to develop it more. So please, get us out there, help us out. And the more you help us out, the more we can do. And hopefully, we'll see you out there. And so with that, guys, thanks for watching and geek out.